Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver the keynote address here at this 21st Presidential Export Awards, please welcome Chairman and the founder of MJF Group of Companies, Mr. Merrill J. Fernando.
Your Excellency, President Maithripala Sirisena, Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests, dear friends. Our country, Sri Lanka, is blessed with an enormous potential for agriculture. Centuries ago, Sri Lanka, or Ceylon then, was known as the granary of Asia because we supplied all the countries in Asia with rice grown here. That was long before technology and modern ways of growing and planting rice arose. Our ancient kings knew how to produce water and how to grow their crops. After 450 years of foreign domination, we were never trained to market our produce, but we are experts at supplying raw material. Even after 70 years of independence, we are still deeply embedded in the colonial culture of trade. Colonial culture of trade is to get their subjects to produce all the raw material. In the case of tea, tea is a finished product. You only add boiling water and drink it right away. However, it was treated as raw material and it was sent to England initially, then to other countries where there was a British influence, where it was packaged, value-added, branded, and marketed at enormously high prices. And their practice was to take benefit and exploit crops that they do not sow. Others sow it for them, they make the money. In my early years in the bulk tea trade, as I walked around, as I visited countries, I saw that our sweat, toil, and tears of plantation workers and their owners creating millionaires and billionaires in foreign countries by exploiting our workforce and our crop. Branding and marketing. And I realized this is unfair. While our plantation workers and owners were in pain and in need, these people are thriving on their sweat and toil. So I thought, why can't we do this? And I was very young at that stage, and I said, I am going to have my own brand one day. Then I returned to Sri Lanka and continued to do the wrong thing by supplying bulk tea to the same people who were exploiting us. If I thought otherwise, I would have no job. But the thought of having my own brand haunted me all the time. There was somebody inspiring me all the time. And I gave it serious thought over a period of time. And I talked to friends in the trade and in Sri Lanka. No one understood me. They thought I was mad. They said, how can you market the only the British people can do? And I tried to convince them that we can do better than anybody else with our own tea. But I had no supporters. Not one sympathized with me. So the opposition I received at home shattered me. But I trudged on. I expected much opposition from the overseas markets. The first country I tried to talk of marketing my tea was Australia. When I went there, Australians give the small player a good deal. So with that in mind, I went to Australia and talked about my launching a Sri Lankan owned brand. And I talked that with the people to whom I supplied bulk tea. So all of them told me, if you want to do our business, we will not buy bulk tea from you ever again. So I had the threat of going out of my bulk tea business by trying to follow a wild dream, impossible dream. I couldn't persuade them initially, but after about 2 years, they understood my position, and while there was still quite a lot of opposition from the big suppliers to supermarket, I persevered and I managed to get accepted 2 lines of Dilmah tea, branded tea, in 1988. That acceptance of Dilmah tea, pure Ceylon tea, packed at origin, ethically produced and delivered fresh to supermarkets in Australia, opened the door for many other Sri Lankan brands, not only of tea, but of many others. If that opportunity was seized correctly, the exporters correctly guided, Your Excellency, today Sri Lanka would be earning 3,000 to 4,000 rupees per kilo of our tea. Besides, all other producing countries would have followed the example of Sri Lanka, and they would have done the same. So that our tea crop, India's tea crop, Indonesia's tea crop, Kenya's tea crop, would have given them sufficient income to manage with less loans and bonds. But see what happened. About Dilmah tea was progressing very well. Consumers liked the concept of a farmer bringing his tea direct to consumers, and they fell behind the brand. And I, at that stage, used to visit Australia, meet the people and talk to them, did a lot of PR. Eventually my children started going, Dilhan and Malik, and we built a relationship with the consumer, an unshakable link with consumers. Then we went to New Zealand, and we went to today, Dilmah is in several countries, on airlines, 5-star hotels, top restaurants. I had to fight for that. When I tell you what happened to me in Australia, 6 months, my tea, Dilmah tea, was sold at that time at $1.89 for 100 tea bags, both 2 types of tea. 6 months later, another brand of tea, pure Ceylon tea, appeared in the supermarket chain at 99 cents for 100 bags. I thought that was the greatest insult to Ceylon tea. Such ambitions should be thwarted by the authorities. The tea board of the day should never have prevented that pricing on the tea, because we having just got into the market, there would have been opportunity for 5-6 other exporters to price a good quality product around the same price, and we could have controlled the Australian market, but we lost that opportunity. I related that story of mine to come to the point that we need disciplines in the export trade. Continuing to export as raw material, bulk tea, does no good to us. We are being exploited. Millions and billions are made outside that country. We should bring those millions and billions to our country. Just as Dilmah is bringing millions into this country, even in a small way. Dilmah established the principle that we can export our tea, value-added, sell them at a very good price, and bring wealth to our country, that wealth which is accruing outside our country. If the disciplines required to build brands are forthcoming as a matter of government policy, then I believe in just 2 to 3 years, we can streamline our exports and sell value-added tea only and stop supplying bulk tea to enrich our competitors. Therefore, strict, as I say, there must be strict guidelines and carefully monitored. That discipline must be the quality for which Ceylon is known. Our greatest asset is that consumers around the world, the whole world, know that Ceylon tea is the finest. And consumer perception is very important for the success of a brand. If you make the consumers feel there is consistent quality, fair price, and advertising and promotion, and creating wealth, consumers like to hear no better story than to say, farmers in Sri Lanka or India or Indonesia or wherever, farmers bringing their crop to the market, ethically produced, and that money and the cup of tea they sip sends money back to the producing country. And that money, if they know, is gainfully spent in the interests of the community and for the poor. As a man of humble means, when I started seeing the benefits of value addition in Dilmah, I had to decide whether I was going to become a rich man and collect money, bank it, or share it with the poor, like myself. So I did decide to share it with the poor, the MJF Charitable Foundation. Through the earnings from my exports, has established our mark right through the country. It saves about 10,000 lives a year, every year. That is the strength of Ceylon tea. It is the strength of Ceylon tea that makes it possible to earn substantial foreign exchange and use it very gainfully in the community. Because I realize I cannot take it with me when I go, so I share it. And all those principles, if they laid down, for example, tea auctions indicate a weekly price. Adding value, depending on the different packages, each one costs X number of rupees. So if we lay down a price relative to the auction price, develop a mechanism to fix a price, minimum price, every quarter or so, to ensure that value addition is beyond that. Then reward them for value addition, and then you guarantee quality and all the other things necessary to provide consumer confidence in our brands of tea. That is exactly what I did, and I would like to share with other exporters and with government bodies to follow the example of Dilmah and give them guidelines what to do so as to prevent selling 99 cents for 100 tea bags. Control the quality, control freshness, ensure integrity of the product, and then we will earn the wealth that is leaving us with every kilo of bulk tea that we supply. That will remain here and we will become a rich country. There are some other points apart from disciplines. I would recommend, as in Japan in the early days, Japan had star performers in each category, whether it is exports of cars or whatever it was. Those star performers were held out as examples, and that motivated third 11, fourth 11 to come up to that. They were given special privileges and incentives and motivated to do more. We should introduce a system like that in our country, and to recognize not only value addition and earning, recognize the people who share their wealth from tea, from exports, with the poor, and help the country in general to sustain the industry, support the environment, do everything that nature in our country is starved of. Today, our spices, like tea, enjoy a global reputation as the finest quality. All that is exported in bulk. For example, the bulk of our cinnamon is exported to Mexico. Why can't we send a team of experienced marketers, people who understand and see what they do with the cinnamon at that end? They would be processing it, packaging it, and selling it there. Bring that processing into our country and do it cheaper than they do in their country, and export value-added products. Then there are other difficulties where we have, for example, we had good prices for our spices. Now, if we import spices like pepper and items like cashew and areca nut into Sri Lanka, we depress our prices. And soon there will be a situation we had to face that no longer is the quality image of Sri Lankan spices and tea can be sustained. Thank you.